So, we're going to talk pistol fundamentals this afternoon. Now, all the same safeties apply, all the fundamentals really apply too. They're all transferable. It's easier to be unsafe with this than it is with the rifle, though, because it fits into your hand. And typically in a class, if I get flagged by something, it's usually by a pistol. So, you know, just look left and right and square each other away if you see somebody playing grab ass. It's as simple as that. There's 4 conditions you should be in, either like this, on target, in your holster, or in the gun box. Really, you know. Now, there are those who will say, because I've heard it in the past, guys say, hey, why spend so much time with your pistol if the rifle is your primary? Now, a guy who says that is a guy who can't shoot a pistol worth a fuck either. And I'll tell him, well, it's only my secondary until it becomes my primary, and then it's my primary. But a better glass of shut the fuck up for that guy is you say, well, the exact same fundamentals that I have to apply to a rifle, I have to apply to this, only with this they're harder. They're harder. You know, I've got a reduced platform, I've got more recoil and all that stuff. So, in theory, if we can master this, it's going to make us a better rifleman, too. For a lot of us, this is our primary, though. You know, you're either running it on duty as your primary, or you're running concealed as your own protective service. So, we need to make sure we're proficient with the fundamentals and under pressure. You know, we have to learn how to compartmentalize the pressure of a gunfight. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Fundamentals, I think, are pretty simple. A lot of us, though, complicate the fundamentals when it comes to pistol shooting, and a lot of guys on the podium are too eager to say too much. Too many are too eager to say too much. A lot of brain default mechanisms go into pistol shooting. But I'll give you my version of the fundamentals. The first one is stance. My version of stance. Just stand up. Just stand up. Just stand up. You're probably right. You're probably right. It doesn't require a lot of thinking. You know, you put a pistol in a guy's hands and you see some crazy shit, you know, like that, or this stuff. You see just a lot of convoluted, crazy crap. Grip, however, we need to spend a little more time on, only because if we pull this thing out in a gunfight, it's going to be multiples. It's not going to be freaking boosh, one shot out of the holster. That shit died with Johnny Ringo. So we need to make sure that those multiple shots are multiple effective shots, not just spraying and praying, but multiple effective. So grip becomes very, very important, right? The grip. We need to be as high up on this thing as possible with our firing hand, and as high up with our non-firing hand. Let me orient that way so everybody can see. So it's high up with our firing hand and with our non-firing hand. So non-firing hand as far up as we can get it, stacking the thumbs. A lot of times on the range, I'll probably have to do it out here to a couple guys and break this habit of thumb under the grip. I see that a lot. I still see it a lot. We want to break that and stack the thumbs. 2 birds with 1 stone, what we need to do too is cant this hand at a slight 45. What I mean by 2 birds with 1 stone is first bird, the grip comes higher. The second one is it offers more anatomical stability. It's harder to break this than it is that. So slight 45 with our non-firing hand. So that's stance and grip. The next fundamental, and I spent a lot of time on this fundamental, and I don't even know if anybody else calls it a fundamental of marksmanship, but it definitely is when it comes to pistol, is presentation. And that is from your ready position to your firing position. This right here, presentation. So ready position, I'm calling nothing more than the second part of your draw stroke. You would come from the holster to a ready position before you push it out to your firing position. So this becomes a fundamental. This needs to be flat. It needs to be flat and smooth. Flat and smooth, flat and smooth, flat and smooth. And we need to make sure that we perform the appropriate amount of repetitions so that the sights are aligned at the apex of our presentation, flat and smooth. Now, additionally, during presentation, something else that should happen is your grip should get tighter as you present to the target. Kind of like building a clamshell around that thing. So physics over strength. So you know you need to white knuckle it back here. It gets tighter as we present it out to the target. So that's stance, grip, presentation. The next fundamental, sight alignment. These things on a pistol right here are not a design flaw. Front sight, rear sight, even amount of space on both sides, flat across the top, all emphasis on that guy right there. Sight alignment. The next one, trigger control. I asked the question this morning with rifle, let me ask it again with pistol. How much finger should we put on the trigger? Yeah, I'm going to say, just like with the rifle, the fundamental is trigger control. I'm going to suggest that you sink as much as you can on there. In other words, this portion of your finger is flat against the pistol. If it's out like this, you don't have trigger control. You have a fulcrum. Remember, analogous, this is a fulcrum where this is a vise. And you're going to be able to pull straight through more evenly. Hey, this is also the king daddy of all fundamentals, trigger control. There's no fucking doubt because I can't see these things anymore. I can't see them anymore. But I know that this is all a blur to me. My front sight and the target is just a big freaking messy blur. But if I put my blurry object on the center of the target, and if my trigger control is true, usually the shot's going to be there. Now, so I started sinking that finger on the trigger, I don't know, a decade and a half ago, when I transitioned from a 1911 to a Glock. So you can get away with splitting the distal phalange on a nice custom built 1911. So anything with a mushy trigger or double action, you can't get away with that. How many guys have seen this right-handed shooter? And because I know it's happened to me, it's happened to some of you out here. Pushing all your rounds over to your left a little bit. Right-handed shooter. You guys see that? Yeah. So I had to teach a class. This is while I was still active duty. I had to teach a class to some of our cloak and dagger fucks, and they were shooting Glock 19, so I went to Glock 19, and I squoze, past tense of squeeze, shot over to the left, and then everything else followed. I was shooting over to the left just a little bit. I was like, what the fuck, man? So I called a buddy of mine at the AMU, the Army Marksmanship Unit, and this guy was like 6-time national champion or some shit, Greg Wilson. And I said, hey, Greg, I'm having this problem. And I told him what it was, and he said, sink more finger on the trigger. And I said, huh, really? He goes, yeah, bro, sink more finger on the trigger. I said, well, how much? Now, Greg's a big guy. He's got great big dick eaters. He said, bro, I sink so much finger on the trigger that when I finish squeezing the trigger, I could drop my magazine with my trigger finger. So I tried it, and sure as shit, everything straightened right back up. That was my magic elixir. It was like he handed me the Rosetta Stone. Holy crap. I can decipher. So, stance, grip, presentation, sight, alignment, trigger, control. And the last one, just like with a rifle, sight, 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 squeeze, 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 boom. The gunfire cycles, changes another round, realign the sights, reset the trigger. Boom, cycles, changes another round, realign the sights, reset the trigger. Every time, reset. Reset every time. Get ready for that next shot. Tracking? All right, so let me explain the first drill, and then we'll go down. I'll demo it, and then we'll try it. Now, the first drill reads easy. Put cones out. We're going to start up close, 7 yards. All right, nice and close. And the drill's just going to be single shots from the ready position. Boom. Boom. Just single shots from the ready position, with emphasis on the big three. Sight, alignment, trigger control, and follow through. That's it. It's going to be the first drill, full magazine, first drill. And then we'll build from there. Now, every drill has its reason, has a place. And we're going to keep building to it, building on it, building on it, building on it. Everything has a reason. Now, we're not, it's not arbitrary. I didn't go home last night and smoke a bunch of crack and just say, let me see how this fucking runs. Everything's in place for a reason, but that's going to be our first guy. Yes, sir.
Question, and I know you just touched on it, but as far as stance.
Yep.
And you say just stance. A lot of us do agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
What if you start, and I'm just wanting your opinion, when you get brand new out of the box shooter.
Right.
What are you?
Yeah, well, you want to tell them, hey, it's comfortable and semi-athletic. Comfortable and semi-athletic, shoulder width apart, weight on the balls of the feet, slightly bent at the knees, slightly bent at the waist. So it's basically just like that. And you could demo it. You could say, this is it right here. This is my stance. Another one that I'll do is this right here. Come on up here, I'll demo this for brand new guys. I'll say, this is how you want to stand. Pretend like I'm gonna push you, or no, I'll say, I am gonna push you that way. Ready, set. Well, what happens usually with with a new guy is he leans forward a little bit as you move into it.
Okay.
You'll see him do that, and I'll say that's perfect. That's your shooting stance. You know, because they're usually flat on their feet, and I'll say I'm going to push you now. Get ready for it. So go ahead and get ready for it. And usually that's what happens. Natural defense default mechanism. He'll step out a little bit further with his non-firing side, and he'll put the weight on the balls in his feet, and you say that's pretty perfect. That's your shooting stance right there. So you prove to him that it's a natural defense or natural default mechanism. We good? We tracking? All right. So eyes, ears, pistolas, magazines, water, and I got to put some cones out. You gonna hang out for a little bit? You gonna boogie?